This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast instead of doom scrolling? Smart move. Another smart move? Getting help from one of State Farm's 19,000 local agents when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Get business done with the new American Express Graphite Business Cash Unlimited card. With unlimited 2% cash back on all eligible purchases, unlimited 5% cash back on flights and prepaid hotels booked through American Express Travel Online, and a flexible spending capacity that can grow with your business, you'll have the confidence to keep building. Apply today and earn a welcome offer of $1,500 cash back after you spend $50,000 in qualifying purchases on your new card within the first 6 months of card membership. Terms apply. Learn more at go.amex/graphite.
Your body isn't a problem to fix. It's a system to support. From PMS to pregnancy to menopause. Ollie's Women's Wellness line is built on real science for every stage. No guilt, no stigmas, just science-backed supplements that work with you, not against you. Choose science over shame. Find support at a retailer near you or on ollie.com. That's OLLY.com.
What's happening? What's going on? Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. It's Jay Scott, and it is The Hook Rocks, the ultimate rock community podcast. Thanks again for tuning in, as you always do. We do appreciate your presence and you listening. And don't forget to write a review for this episode when you're done. We always appreciate the feedback. We are part of the Pantheon Podcast Network at pantheonpodcast.com. It's a great platform of music-related podcasts, including the official Metallica podcast. You can find them on social media at Pantheon Pods on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and Twitter. And you can do the same on all four of those platforms with The Hook Rocks, including our new website, thehookrocks.com. Please don't forget to set your app, whichever podcast app you use, to automatic download so you get the latest episode right to your phone. We've had some incredible guests since the first of the year, really, and the last month has just been incredible. We welcome Joe Hottinger from Hailstorm, Michael Anthony, the former bassist of Van Halen, John Corabi, back in the Dead Daisies. We had him, as well as Richie Kotzen, talking about his new single, Cheap Shots. We welcomed new bands like Red Voodoo. We had Dino McCord, the singer. We had Ryan Gamey from High Desert Queen, a great desert rock band, have set to release their new album. We also had Tim Montana, the great artist from Montana, who's got a new album coming out and a couple new singles for you to check out. So please check out all those and more. And of course, the Dave Snake Sabo interview from Skid Row made a lot of headlines, as the Michael Anthony one did as well. Dave pretty much putting the kibosh on any talk or possibility of Sebastian Bach returning to the band. It got picked up by a lot of different publications, including Blabbermouth, Eddie Trunk, Loudwire, Ultimate Classic Rock, and a whole bunch others. It was a great interview. So thankful for Snake Sabo for giving me almost 2 hours of his time. It was, we really got into a lot, not just the stuff about reuniting with Sebastian, which is not going to happen, but Lizzie Hale, who just performed with them, as well as their early days, and find out which record label they turned down before they got signed to Atlantic. Pretty interesting story there. So check out all those episodes and more. And of course, it's time for one of our quarterly series. Although we already did one this quarter, we have to revisit our Music Insider episodes because Kristi Enigl is back, and we've got lots to talk about, lots of updates with Ticketmaster and Live Nation. For those that have not heard, last week, the Department of Justice confirmed that they were suing Live Nation Ticketmaster for monopoly practices and threatening to break them up with the lawsuit. We're going to talk about that and some new breaking news that just broke about 8 to 10 hours ago, earlier in the day, that Ticketmaster's security or internet or whatever what they call it was breached by a group of hackers and now has access to over 500 million users, their names, payment information, addresses, social security. And from what I understand, we're going to get into it, it's been up for sale now on the dark parts of the web. I don't know if that stuff is legit. I've never been on the dark web. It's a thing that doesn't really interest me to be on the dark web, but we're going to talk about it. And let's welcome back the incredible Kristi Enigl. What's happening?
Thanks, Jay. Thank you so much. So this is just kind of a quick update, because this story is moving so fast that it was even hard for us to pin down a date and get this recorded just to update everybody, because things are just changing. And as we came on to record this, can you believe Ticketmaster has one of the largest breaches ever, and so much information is now for sale. It's actually for sale on the dark web through, I'm not going to name the people who hacked it, but you can look online, and it's for sale for $500,000. And I just find that very curious. My conspiracy mind sometimes works overtime, but isn't that odd? Less than a week, or about a week from the charges, finally being, I can't even believe it. It just seems so weird. It took so long to get there. And they finally laid the hammer down and indicted them. So now they have to go to court, but there's a lot to get to between, what finally happened after years and years of them just running rampant, to now facing court and trial and a jury trial. So maybe we should go over what happened.
Well, yeah. Let's start with what happened with the lawsuit. For those rock and rollers, heavy metal fans, I think one person that you need to thank about this lawsuit being filed, who had a huge influence in that, is Miss Taylor Swift. And if you're not a Swiftie, you might want to be one, because this outrage initially started with the process of buying Taylor Swift tickets for her tour last year. I think it was last year or 2 years ago, where people got on and they discovered what tiered pricing was. They discovered about the technology. What would you say the technology shortcomings Ticketmaster page had, because you're in line to get, your tickets, and all of a sudden you got kicked out. And then when you clicked on the tickets that were $120 or whatever, they ended up being $10,000 for the ticket. It was just and it caused outrage. And when people is what constituents are, when people have outrage and it's a unified outrage, that's when change happens. That's when Congress gets involved, because these are their voters. These are the people that vote for them. And this is across party lines. These are Republican, Democrats. And as we always do say, that we have a lot more in common than we do have disagreements about. If the world was one big giant rock concert, we'd probably all get along.
Yeah.
But the fact is that this affects everybody who loves live music. It affects everybody that loves music. And that's where it began, really. I'm sure there were things going on that maybe were not as prevalent in the press about the Department of Justice or them looking at the Ticketmaster, but this shined a huge spotlight on the practices of Live Nation and Ticketmaster, and now here we are.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think it's quite clear I'm no Taylor Swift fan. If she's the one that went out there and got this done, and her fans said, okay, this is too much, yay. That we have nothing to say to them but thank you. Because as you've discussed, all the big guys, the legacy guys, took a pass, So good for them, and good for those fans for making some noise and being heard, because Ticketmaster has just been so abusive to their consumer, to their customer. It's unbelievable. But this lawsuit is going to face some challenges. So basically everything we laid out over the past year and a half or whatever it's been about them monopolizing the entire ticket buying experience, the managing of the venues, the vertical integration, as they call it, is being looked at now as monopoly, which it should have been from the beginning. One of the hiccups is going to be that they let it go through in the first place. And so the precedent has been set. So now they want to stop and go back and change it. So I read some legal opinions on it since we last talked. So they're going to have some struggles in that area. And also the DOJ presenting in front of a jury, complicated monetization, monopoly, antitrust law. It can be complex. It can be tedious. It can be nerdy and boring. And so there could be some jury fatigue, and sometimes these cases don't always go the way of the DOJ. So, that seems to be the consensus that I was able to find out.
So a jury's going to decide this, or not just a judge?
Possibly.
Yeah.
They said jury.
Okay.
So I don't know. I can't say, but everything I read had the word jury in it. Jury trial.
I personally, I don't think this is going to get that far.
Yeah.
I'd be very surprised if this ends up at a trial.
Yeah.
Because Ticketmaster Live Nation doesn't want this to go into a court, because it's going to really expose how they do business. And one thing I know about big business is they want to keep everything behind the curtain. They don't want people to know all the ins and outs, and knowledge is power. The more people know, the more discouraged and aggravated people will be. I also am going to wonder out loud now that because of Taylor Swift and her fans, really her fans, most of all, who brought the outrage to front and center, and then Taylor Swift still has a lawsuit against them. I think one of their shareholders or one of the people on the board has a lawsuit against them. And I think there's another one too. I'm trying to remember if there was a third one.
Yeah. There's a third one.
Yeah. I can't remember. What are the details on that? Okay. We've got Taylor Swift. We've got the DOJ. We've got someone on the boards who sued for unethical practices and monopoly practices. And then there was another matter too, I believe, that they're being sued for.
I think it was a group of fans. I think it might have been out of Chicago. I have to look that one up. It wasn't as strong. I think it was tagged on or rolled into another one.
Okay.
So I'll give you an update on that one. There was no updates on the other ones because, wheels move slowly.
Right. So, and then there was also the artificially inflating the value of their stock price, which is, I think, still under investigation.
Yeah.
Right. So
no, that one's had the green light for the guy to sue him. One's
so that's from the board of director or shareholder that they were overinflating. They were doing something with rebates, right?
That's a different one. I think there's two of them. I think another one is doing one that says that what they did was they knew that they were being investigated, but they sent out the end of the year reports, and they said, "Oh, everything's absolutely fantastic. Here's how much we're going to make, da, 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 da," knowing that they were under investigation and possibly facing indictments. And they did not disclose that. And that's what that lawsuit is about. It's about them actually not disclosing that information to the shareholders at the end of the year report. So that's kind of a technicality.
Okay.
That's what they're.
And then there was the one where they had something with some rebate where they were selling the rebate, I think, back, or something with they were giving back them, but they were not given as much, or they were overinflating the value of a rebate or some kind of incentive program.
They're paying
their stock prices, and it was overinflated. Yeah. So I think the SEC is investigating that. Yeah.
That's what it was. It was a fake rebate scheme.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on with Ticketmaster Live Nation, and I'm trying to find a way to feel sorry and have empathy for them. But all I keep thinking about is, fuck those motherfuckers. And I'm glad that this has happened, although I wish it would have happened 2 years before, several years before. It's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to get to court. There's going to be some type of agreement or settlement. What that looks like, I have no idea right now. I don't know if I can really predict what that's going to look like, because this is going to be crazy. The other thing that's out there is the reason why this lawsuit was brought last week was because the DOJ requested information from Live Nation and Ticketmaster, and they suddenly morphed into turtles and slow walked getting this information, if any information was actually given. And they were kept trying to apply pressure to Ticketmaster and Live Nation, and then they went ahead with this lawsuit because they were not getting the information that was expected, or maybe they did, but maybe it wasn't enough. So what I'm fearful because of that is this is not going to go to trial next month, 2 months. This is going to be an ongoing thing for the next couple of years. Now we have an election this year, and as we all know, most, if not all, politicians are corrupt. It's a matter of level of corruptness that each one has, that can be at the top of corruption or the low end of corruption, but it exists in pretty much every political entity. My concern is that if a certain candidate does win the presidency, it's been proven that he can be bought, will Live Nation give X amount of dollars to his campaign that if he wins, this goes away? That's the one question I have that's out there. And like I said in the beginning, this is a Democrat Republican. This is a non-political issue. This is a live music fan issue. And if this goes away somehow, some way, without any resolution or without any change, I'm going to say this at the beginning of the conversation: the outrage needs and has to continue, because this needs to be fixed.
It's the universal experience that cuts across every single economic, cultural, race, gender line around the world. It's buying tickets through Ticketmaster is a horrible, horrible experience. We have all experienced. They have no customer service. It's, they have the nerve to make you wait in line, kick you back out, get back in, and then post like, oh, there's 3,000 people ahead of you now, when you already have the tickets in your cart. It's a horrible product. It's run by evil people. It's run by a guy who made the largest CEO bonus of the year last year, coming in ahead of all the tech guys. So they do not care about us. I want to see this thing go through. I don't want to see it falter. I don't want to see them pay it out. I don't want to see them get swept under the rug with a new head of the DOJ. I hope they can expedite this and move it forward. And, at the very least, if they brought it up, they need to revisit, whether they should have let it go through in the first place or not. If they can't punish them now, can we just turn the clock back and say, you know what, that was a mistake. We're going to roll it back. You're no longer a combined company.
Something needs to happen. I mean, this affects everyone that goes to not just live music, but sporting events, everything.
Baseball.
Yeah. Baseball, football, basketball, musicals, plays,
soccer.
Yeah. This affects everything. They have
pageant of the arts.
I think it's like almost 80% of the venues across the country. And I've never been to a sports venue, major league sports venue, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, college football, that the tickets were from something else besides Ticketmaster.
No, I haven't even Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember another competitor called Ticketron.
Ticketron, yep. Yeah.
And we used to go to JCPenney's.
That was Carson Perry Scott.
We used to go and buy our tickets in the mall and line up. And then we used to go to the Forum, because I'm from LA. I used to go to the Forum and line up, 3:00 in the morning and get our wristbands and then go through. But at least we could go in person. At least we can make the effort. Now buying tickets online was supposed to democratize everything and make it fair and give everybody a shot. And it's just not.
I still remember the phone number for Ticketmaster back in the day in Chicago was 312-555-1212. And how I used to get tickets without, because remember how you had the busy signal and you had to redial and try to get through. So what I would do is I would call another market's Ticketmaster because everything was 555-1212. The only change was the area code. So if a concert was going on, whether it was like, I don't know, Metallica or Def Leppard or whoever it was, I figured out that if I called another market and talked to someone, so I would call somewhere out in Philadelphia or Florida or another Ticketmaster, and I would sit on hold, and I would kind of and the tickets would go on sale on a Saturday at 10 a.m. That was always on sale Saturday at 10 a.m. So I get on the phone 5 minutes early with someone in Philadelphia, like a Ticketmaster representative, and I would ask, "Oh, what about this show? What tickets are available for this show?" And it'd be 9:56, and I'd be 9:50. I'm like, "What about this show? What are the best seats available for this?" They would tell me. And then 10 o'clock would roll around. I go, "Yeah, can I get 2 tickets for Metallica at the Road Horizon in Illinois?" "Oh, yeah, sure, blah, blah, blah." "Yeah, give me the best seats available." And I get these seats, but everybody's on online or not online, on the phone line.
Trying to get through.
Trying to get in with the busy signal. You call another market, you get the tickets, you get your seats, and then you come to school on Monday. Yep, I got how'd you get them? I'm like, I just,
Secret.
I got my process. So that was always the scam. But yeah, back in those days, everything was a lot more tame. But
you bought the scalpers actually, had to go to the show and sell the tickets out in front. Right now, it's just all these bots. It's all computer code buying and selling tickets. It's just
yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. I have no. I think it's a great step, and everybody should go watch the press conference if you haven't had a chance, and to see what they're rolling out against them, and you'll just agree with the Attorney General the whole time, nodding your head, yes, 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 yes. And, keep a track of it. And I really hope that there's some teeth in this.
I think there is.
It's not for show. It's not for show. That's what my fingers are really crossed.
I think there is a lot of teeth in this. What is it? Merrick Garland, who's the Attorney General, when he was talking about in describing what Ticketmaster Live Nation does, basically everything you and I have talked about in the last year and a half to 2 years about what they do is what they're doing. The tiered pricing, the exclusives for the artists and all that stuff too as well. It's all there. It's all there. And I encourage everyone to listen to those episodes that break down why we're here and what the process is for Ticketmaster Live Nation. And it's pretty evil what they do. So I do think there's some teeth to it. I do think that there's going to be some resolution. Now, what that looks like, we don't know. I don't think it's going to end up in a trial. Live Nation does not want that. And I think if they're headed for that, it's going to be like the day before they'll settle or something if it's headed for trial. The only other avenue is that it gets slow walked, which I don't think any resolution is going to happen from this for at least a year to 2 years.
Yeah.
And the other thing is will Live Nation pay to get this to go away? That's another likelihood too. So there's a long road ahead. What I also hope is some of these artists that we've named, Springsteen, Metallica, Pearl Jam, whoever, that are these big acts that are charging an exorbitant amount of money to see them, finally step up and say, hey, wait a minute, this is wrong. Because the whole idea of them saying we don't control the prices has been proven to be false. Robert Smith of The Cure proved that. And what did Ticketmaster Live Nation try to do? So if you're not familiar with the story, Robert Smith said Cure tickets can only be sold for a certain dollar amount, no more. And if you can't go, you can't sell them for more money. They have to be sold at base value. So what did Ticketmaster do? Instead of saying, okay, fine, they raised the fees for those particular shows. And guess what? Robert Smith found out that instead of them charging, let's just throw a number out there, a general number, instead of them charging $10 for a processing fee, so to speak, or whatever it is, they charged $50 for a processing fee, right? So they were trying to recoup the money that they weren't going to make because of The Cure. So that proves, without a shadow of a doubt, if we're in a courtroom and it's a John Grisham novel, without a shadow of a doubt, artists can dictate what the prices are. So when the face of the middle class, Bruce Springsteen, gets on and says, I don't have any control, when Pearl Jam, who used to fight this bullshit and have the principles to fight it, those principles no longer exist with Pearl Jam, that's out the window. They need to say something. When Metallica, who came up from the underground, right, the denim and leather, the frickin' thrash movement, everything was pure and authentic. Well, they're not pure and authentic anymore because they're buying into this whole scam too as well. They're making money. So not only do we have to be vocal against these artists, and I'm sure, listen, I'm not telling you to go and be completely belligerent against them, but demand that they do something and don't let them off the hook when they say, I don't have any control over it. That is going to matter. It worked, but look at all the Swifties that got outraged.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. I don't know her personally. I've seen her at the Super Bowl. But if Taylor Swift fans didn't express the outrage that they did, I tend to believe that Taylor Swift would not have done anything. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But that's just my opinion on that. So, again, who caused the outrage? Her fans. She had to respond, and she did.
Yeah.
That's what happens. And it's the same thing. I know people have a very disenchanted or disenfranchised, I should say. They have a very disenfranchised view of how things work in this country. There's a lot of bitterness. There's a lot of anger towards it. But I will tell you one thing that still works is you contacting your representatives to express support for this lawsuit. So if you call, and then I'm going to put this stuff in the link too as well, where you can call any representative, just enter in, I think you enter in your zip code or whatever it is, and it'll give you right access, and you can leave them a message. And what you say is, hi, this is so-and-so from so-and-so town in so-and-so state. I am calling to express my 100% support for the lawsuit brought by the DOJ against Ticketmaster Live Nation, and I expect you, who is my representative, to support this as much as I do. That's what you do. And I guarantee you this won't go away.
Yeah, it won't. And they'll get back to you too. I regularly in touch with my representatives, my elected representatives, with issues, copyright, this issue, and several others, and they get back to you. They'll hit you up for money. You will probably get a fundraising email. Don't be surprised. You don't have to send any money in, but definitely voice your opinion. And you're absolutely right. I don't know if T Swift would have been behind, made much noise. From what I understand, she's always been really close to her fans, though. And so they made so much noise, it was unavoidable. Right. So, and, Pearl Jam, they're old like me now. They're the same age, a little bit younger, a little bit older, we're in the same group. I didn't go to Pearl Jam this year. They just played LA, and I was like, I'm not paying $400 for nosebleed at the Forum. Just like, and it's outrageous. That should be $100 max, and that's a splurge. But $400 and $500 for nosebleed for Pearl Jam, no. And we have to say no. And I've heard that there's sales down in some arenas, for them, and they sell out arenas and they have for 30 years. So, people, obviously we're all feeling a pinch, because there's no money out there. And so, we're going to pay $400, $500, $600, $1,200, $2,000, $2,800. Taylor Swift, $10,000, $12,000, $20,000 for the tickets, whatever ridiculous numbers they were. Who's got that kind of money? It's cheaper to write.
And that's just for one ticket. That's just for one ticket. Like,
fuck you. No, one ticket.
Who goes to a show by themselves?
No, I do. I like that,
but Swiftie fans, it's probably someone's mom and someone's daughter and everything. Right. Yeah.
I think part of it resonated with the parents and the aunties and the uncles who were like trying to buy gifts for their kids and their nieces and nephews and get them some Taylor Swift tickets, came up against, Ticketmaster. Maybe they hadn't been on for a while and didn't realize what buy a ticket in 2023 or 2024. So, and I think a lot of them certainly felt it. And, that's a big machine. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of parents and aunties pissed off.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast instead of doom scrolling? Smart move. Another smart move? Getting help from one of State Farm's 19,000 local agents when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Get business done with the new American Express Graphite Business Cash Unlimited card. With unlimited 2% cash back on all eligible purchases. Unlimited 5% cash back on flights and prepaid hotels booked through American Express Travel Online. And a flexible spending capacity that can grow with your business. You'll have the confidence to keep building. Apply today and earn a welcome offer of $1,500 cash back after you spend $50,000 in qualifying purchases on your new card within the first 6 months of card membership. Terms apply. Learn more at go.amex/graphite.
At Ollie, we've got wellness down to a science. From PMS to pregnancy to menopause, our women's wellness line offers science-backed support for every stage. No judgment, no shame, none of the stigma. Just supplements designed to meet you wherever you're at. Ollie, choose science over shame. Find support at a retailer near you or on ollie.com. That's OLLY.com.
Again, voices matter. And I can tell you my experience. We all knew Republican Party wanted to repeal Obamacare back in 2017, 2018, I think it was. And they got pretty close. They got pretty close to doing it. But what did you see people doing? Going to town hall meetings, contacting their representatives. The reason why Obamacare, and I'm not here to talk about the issues with Obamacare because there are plenty, but the reason why 22 million people still have insurance is because of voices being heard. And they proved it then. No matter what technology we have, no matter what access we have, the bottom line is if you want change, you've got to do the work, and you've got to call your representatives, and you've got to ask them when they come to your door during election season, asking for signatures or donations. Ask them what's your view on the Live Nation Ticketmaster lawsuit brought by the DOJ? What's your view on healthcare and repealing Obamacare? These are questions that affect you as a person and affect how much you spend, affect how you live your life, and how much you enjoy your life. So those are questions that need to be asked. But I'm telling everyone listening, and the link will be in the show notes of how you can contact your representative. to demand that they support this. If you're listening to this show, you love music. Okay. And more times than not, if you love music, you're going to want to go to live shows and experience it. So this is something that is very important if you want to be able to continue to afford it. Because right now, the big shows have become completely unaffordable.
Exactly.
It's not even a question. When you see ticket prices for Metallica, I mean, I'm waiting for AC/DC to come in and do their tour. That's going to be gigantic. When you saw what happened in what was the show? What was the big festival in the desert?
Coachella.
No, not Coachella. With Maiden, Metallica, AC/DC, Judas Priest, Tool.
Oh, yeah. What was that called? I forgot.
What was that called? I
I
can't
don't.
remember. It was just, this is what happens when you get old. You lose your memory.
Yeah, I remember that, but I don't remember.
The ticket prices were ridiculous. And then when you think about all the people that were there, all the people that had traveled there, get hotels, all this stuff, I mean, that was a huge, huge expense for people. And that's where it's going. I mean,
yeah, we have to take it back. We have to snatch this back. We have to take our rights and the affordability to go see live music and live events. You should be able to take your family out to baseball on a Friday or Saturday night for under $100 in tickets, nosebleed. That's fine. I remember they used to sell them for $8-9, up in the bleachers. And you can take your family out and you can go and have a nice evening. We have to take that back from Ticketmaster and Live Nation. They've taken the ability for the average family just to go out and have a nice evening of entertainment without them setting them back, without, $1,200 ping to their credit card or more, more. And so if you want to see prices continue to escalate, that we're all just stuck home watching, Netflix and Hulu all the time on our big screens. If we want to actually get off the couch and go see something, do something to hang out with our friends and our kids, we actually have to take this back from them. We have to say, no, we're supporting the DOJ. We want you broken up. We want a better ticket buying experience. We want to be able to afford live entertainment for ourselves. And it cannot become the exclusive domain of the 0.01 who all, go around in their navigators from, airport to airport in their G6s with Crystal and all that bullshit. We have to say no.
I agree 100%. I don't know what the dollar amount is a fair dollar amount these days.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I know everything has gone up. Expenses has gone up. So I don't know what the fair dollar amount. And I also believe that no one is entitled to go to this stuff.
No, exactly.
But here's what I do believe. The ticket prices are way out of hand because the market has been artificially inflated.
Right.
Because when you have 80% of the venues and when you have all these exclusive contracts, you set the value. You set the rate of the tickets. And that's based on what you want. So that's why there's tiered pricing. That's why they only put a certain percentage of tickets on sale on the primary market versus the secondary market. Everything it's in this lawsuit we've talked about. We've talked about the exclusive rights, right? For the venue and for the artist. So an artist, again, just to recap, cannot tour in another venue or put together a tour with venues that are outside Live Nation and Ticketmaster. So as the DOJ said in the press conference, they are willing to let venues sit completely idle, right? That are not particular. Some are owned by Live Nation, some are not, but they will, a venue will be empty on nights when there's no sporting event or concert, rather than allow another promoter that competes with Live Nation to utilize that venue for people to go and see a concert. Think about that. And that's one of the reasons why the ticket prices are so much, because they're recouping the cost of the building when it's when nothing's there, it's idle. So when they sign these venues up to these contracts, and the question is, from the owner of that venue, it says, well, what about when there's no concert or there's no sporting event? Well, Mr. Owner, we'll fix the prices so you'll be more than happy with the return of keeping it open. But who gets fucked on that? The fan does. So just think about that. There is a venue that is not owned by Live Nation, but they have the exclusive rights to that venue. That there's a concert with Live Nation on Sunday, then there's not another gig to the following Tuesday. Yeah, they'll keep that venue idle and open because of the exclusive rights. That hurts you. So that's something. Then
you control the market.
Right. So my point is they're artificially inflating the prices of the tickets because they're controlling the market. That is the monopoly. That's the definition of a monopoly. So, or close to it. So,
pretty textbook monopoly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to interject. I think the DOJ knew this back in 2010. I think they're regretting this because everything you just said was everything that they said that they were afraid of, and is everything that Live Nation said. Oh, we're not that. We're not that. We're, raised their hand and said, we're good boys. We're going to be, you'd see how good we are. I think they regret that.
Boys and girls, this is another lesson. You never, ever trust anything a big corporation tells you. I am 49 years old. I've got 49 years of life experience. I cannot think of a time where a big corporation told the people of that community or the people that they service anything that's true, or maybe it was a half truth, but it's never the full story. So again, don't believe when they tell you, oh, we're not going to do that, because they will. They may not do it right away, but it'll be a slow evolution to it. And you may not realize they're doing it until you're like, holy shit, this is what they're doing. So just keep that in mind. So again, we talked about the primary and secondary markets. When you only put 60% of the tickets on sale, when they say sell out, they're only talking about the 60% that they put on sale. They're not talking about the 40% that now they've flipped to the secondary market, where now there's an artificial demand because the people think it's sold out. It's a hot ticket. So they're going to charge even more money on the secondary market because, oh, it's sold out, but it's not. It's still 40% of the tickets are left. So that's screwed. The bands itself are limited with the options where they can play. I just mentioned the venues sitting idle. Well, if Metallica signs or Pearl Jam signs with Live Nation, they can only use Live Nation venues. So they can't stray from that. So if there's a market that has a cool venue like Alpine Valley in Wisconsin, one of the best outdoor venues of all time to see a concert, why hasn't Alpine Valley had any concerts there, barely any concerts there, for the last 10 plus years? Because they're not part of the Live Nation network, right? So no band that's on Live Nation can play there. I think the only band that does is Dave Matthews Band does, I think, a show or two there every year, every other year. But it's very limited in scope, and that used to be the premier outdoor venue in the Midwest. Chicago.
I just watched Temple of the Dog, recorded at Alpine Valley. It popped up on my YouTube the other day when I was like, oh, wow, yeah, it's fabulous. Yeah, what a great place. And it's just sitting there idle.
Just sitting there idle. It's a ski resort, but the venue itself, the concert venue, has barely any events because they're not part of the Live Nation. So what does that do to East Troy, Wisconsin, where that's from? East Troy is about 45 minutes to 60 minutes outside Chicago. It's right over the Wisconsin border. So what does that do to that community? Think about all the restaurants, all the hotels don't make any money because Alpine Valley doesn't want to be part of the Live Nation scandal, monopoly. So the whole community is affected. Who's affecting that community? The people that live there.
That's right.
So it's not just the fact that your ticket prices are going up. It affects communities. It affects the young bands.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the other thing go ahead.
I was going to say, that's why Taylor Swift is considered such an important artist, because she's got something known as the Swift bump. And every city she plays, and we've discussed it, they make a profit. So and now if you have a company that owns Taylor Swift's contract, owns where she's playing, and then owns the ticket service, and one of them falters, right? Which was the Ticketmaster, was the servicing. It's like this weird cycle, right? They're all interconnected with each other. So, but without her and her minions stepping in there, it's just a closed circle.
Mm-hmm.
Would have ever happened? Sorry to interject, but I mean, it hasn't happened. It's been going on for so long, and nothing. And it's been business as usual, like you say. It's just every day business as usual.
The other thing that is factored into it is the young bands, the young artists. The common theme now is buy-ons, right? Bands have to buy on to tours. When you see a young band opening up for a legacy artist, 9 times out of 10, they bought on to that tour because the promoter is controlling that. That's not done through the band itself. The promoter gets involved and says, okay, well, we've got a tour with 30 venues, 30 Live Nation venues, where you're going to see this amount of people you're going to be exposed to this many people at every venue. You're going to be able to sell your merch. We want 30% of your merch, by the way, merch sales. And then if you want to get on this tour, we're not going to give you any money. You're going to keep 70% of what you're making on the merch, but you got to give us 10 grand a show to be on this tour. You got to give us 300,000 for a 30-day tour. That's why you see a lot of interchanging with bands, like bands doing 10 dates, bands because they can't afford. Most young bands can't afford to do that anymore.
That's big money, I mean, It's pay to play ultimately. I hope the best outcome is that they're broken up and it opens up the marketplace for innovation. Maybe something on a blockchain, something more equitable. I don't know what's going to be next after this, or even if they do get broken up, hopefully, fingers crossed. But I think people are going to demand a better and more equitable ticket buying experience at the end of this, whatever the outcome is, whether they say pass, okay, you guys are fine or bad, or no, you guys have to break up and we're going to change the way things are going to be done. I think the American public is not going to accept the status quo anymore. I think that changed through all of this.
I hope not. I don't think people so much expect the status quo or accepting the status quo. I think people are preoccupied with things that don't matter.
Don't matter.
When it boils down to it, and we can do a whole separate show on the things that don't matter that people get upset about.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think that's the thing where people are told to be upset and angry about certain things that at the end of the day, being upset and angry about these things really doesn't change anything. It doesn't matter. This is something that does matter because it affects people, communities, young starving musicians. It affects you, the music fan, and how much money you spend for your entertainment, your joy of life. And again, I'm never going to suggest that you must be allowed to go to these shows. No, and I don't know what the proper ticket price is based on everything. I do know you're getting screwed. We're all getting screwed on ticket prices. And it's because of the monopoly. But
but like you said, in that ecosystem is also the cities, and the economic revenue and prosperity that live events brings to a community and to a city can't be ignored. So I think that cities and owners of arenas and clubs and venues should be as invested in this as anybody else, and hopefully they are, because it's like until it's all together as a community, I don't think anything is going to really work in the future, because it can't just be it can't be replaced by another corporation disguised as a remedy, like so often happens. And it has to be genuine and authentic change. It has to be driven from the consumers and the people who purchase the tickets, from those communities, and how the ticket should be dispersed and put on sale.
It's very important that you say that. And when you think of music in general, music now is driven by the consumer, right? It's no longer driven by the labels. There used to be a label would put out an album, spend all this money on promotion, radio, MTV, everything, and you'd be saturated with it, and you connect with it. Where now, because there's so many options with music, and there's so many ways to access music, it's driven by the consumer. That's why there's no big giant record deals anymore. That's why pop music has become what it is, and it's a whole nother discussion. So what you need to know, what Kristi just said, is take it back. Number one, this might be the last chance, the last shot this has to actually be changed. Because if it doesn't happen now, I don't know when it's going to happen. So this needs to be, the community needs to win this.
Yeah.
Because it's so important moving forward. Now, getting back to what I originally, was saying about consumer-driven market. The consumer needs to take over this market. This needs to be a consumer market. Because if it's a consumer market, things will change. This is one of the last type of industries in this entertainment world that is still driven by the promoter, driven by Ticketmaster, driven by the bands, the sports teams, whatever. They're all in this. Don't let anybody fool you.
Yeah.
If the consumer takes over and this becomes a consumer-driven market where there's more ways to get tickets, there's more options, there's more competition, prices will come down.
Yeah.
It's like prices came down for music, right? Remember CDs used to be $15.
Yeah.
Now, if you get a CD, it's $10, $15 still, but you can get your music cheaper on a streaming site. Not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying because it's a consumer-driven market.
Right. Exactly.
So we have to take it back, as Kristi says. It's very important because we may never have a shot at this again.
Exactly. We have to watch this.
Yeah.
The only monkey wrench I see was this data breach today with all of our information for sale on the dark web. I don't know where that's coming from, to be honest. It's highly sus. In my brain just goes like, wait, that just what? So that's what I think we need to watch for. But you're right. Everybody needs to get out there and get motivated and get behind this and reach out and talk about it. Talk to the about it.
You need to. I mean, I don't know what the solution is or how we get people's voice. Well, let's just start with contacting your representative. But as far as the breach is concerned, this is pretty alarming that over 500 million users have their data, their information, their payment information, their social security information, and now it's being sold. And you can confirm that. You can look on any news, just type in Live Nation or Ticketmaster, hit the news tab on Google, and there'll be articles that'll come up. How this happened, I don't know. I mean, obviously people who hack know how to do this stuff. I haven't the slightest, but it's dangerous. This goes to the technology aspect of Ticketmaster, obviously with all the crap that people getting kicked out of the queue and buying tickets. But now you have this breach.
But what company has everybody's information?
Yeah.
Ticketmaster. Right, because we all use them around the world. That number is bigger than us. 539. Whatever. I mean, that's a big number. So people all over the world is global and it's compromised. So I mean, I can't think of any other one company that can have that much data, except maybe TikTok. But that's a different story.
Yeah, we'll continue to follow the breach. I know we do these once a quarter. This is the second episode we've done this quarter, but this is pretty important stuff and pretty important news and updates. So just to kind of recap, we have the DOJ lawsuit. which is an effort to break up the monopoly that is Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster did respond that this was some sort of retaliation or some ulterior motive from the DOJ. Of course, a big corporation's going to come out and say that. And of course, we should all believe what the big corporation tells us. Wink, wink. We have that. We've got 3 to 4 other lawsuits against Ticketmaster that are still going forward. We now have this breach, which there'll probably be lawsuits as a result of this, I imagine at some point, especially if people are affected negatively to this. So that's on the table too as well. And, we have bands and artists continuing to tour while this is all going on.
Yeah.
So we'll keep everybody up to date with what happens and the changes. I mean, I know we've got some other stuff too that we'll talk about the next quarter about TikTok, because as we predicted, TikTok is going to use the U.S. Constitution and the free press aspect of the Constitution to fight them having, being forced to sell, Chinese government forced to sell their app. Just think about that. A known, confirmed adversary of our country is going to use our Constitution or attempt to use our Constitution to fight the ban on TikTok and the forced sale of TikTok. So that's something that is going to probably go on for another year or two. But that's going to be interesting to cover. It's always amazing when politics, government, and money and entertainment gets in bed with each other.
Yeah.
Where
we're at. That's the intersection that we're hanging out at. That's for sure.
Kristi does an amazing job keeping up to date on this stuff. But again, I can't say this enough. You need to speak. You need to let your representatives know. I don't care if you're 18 years old and listening to this or you're 60. You need to call and say, I support the DOJ lawsuit against Live Nation Ticketmaster. I'm an avid concert goer, or my children are avid concert goers, whatever it is, my grandchildren. And I want to know where my rep, my senator stands on this issue.
Yep. Everybody should know.
Any final thoughts?
Fasten your seatbelts. I'm so glad to see this happen, because it was just such a long time coming. But now I think it's just going to be a wild ride from here on out. I really do. So I'm kind of speechless because I'm like, my head is spinning. There's so much going on all at the same time. So yeah, the one thing to focus on is calling your Congress representatives, your Congress people, and letting them know that you're 100% behind this. That's really important for them to hear. If you don't say anything else, that's cool. You just write them a 1-line email. They will get it. And to that translates into numbers and voters. And it will put the pressure on the DOJ to make this come to fruition. Woohoo. That's it. Thanks for having me back. I really appreciate it, Jay.
Anytime. We're going to keep on TikTok and Live Nation Ticketmaster, for the foreseeable future. I don't really know obviously there's always Spotify streaming issues.
I've got news on Spotify too. Yeah.
Okay.
So, just the headline is that the publishers are going after them. So, and it's getting ugly and it's going to get legal. So we're going to have some more lawsuits to watch over there. It's getting real ugly. So
it needs to happen. Absolutely needs to happen. So
yeah. So
again, everyone, we'll keep you up to date as much as we can. Follow us on social media. We'll try to update stuff there too as well. Again, Kristi's links will be in the show notes, as will the information to contact your representatives wherever you live locally and whatever state you live in. But it's important that you talk to people and get more people to call. Not everyone listens to podcasts like this. Not everyone has the information at their fingertips. But If you know people who are going to concerts, who are spending a lot of money, just send that link in the show notes, text it to them, email it to them. It'll take them a minute, 2 minutes. But if you really want to affect change, and you're one of those believers as I am that big business and big money always wins out, they only win out if they keep you uninformed and they keep you inactive on expressing your want to change. Okay. So if you don't express what you think is right, if you don't express what you want to happen, they'll just keep going about it and they won't pay you any mind. It's only when you speak up, they change.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Well, that's been another episode. Thank you, Kristi. Appreciate it.
Okay. Talk to you next time.
Everyone, that's Kristi Enigl. I'm Jay Scott. This has been another episode of The Hook Rocks. Take care of each other. Stay safe. Call your representatives. And we'll talk soon. Thanks.
I'm not giving up. I am selling the building.
The final season of FX's The Bear.
The restaurant is flooded.
Everything's either going to be okay.
No, stop.
Or not.
We are outgunned and we are outmanned, but we have each other.
FX's The Bear, the final season. All episodes now streaming on Disney+.